us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline for another Matich Monday is ESPN college football insider and elite analyst Trevor Matich. Trevor, 8-0, BYU, number 8 in the country. How you feeling on a Monday about BYU football overall?
About as good as I've felt for a couple of decades. I mean, this is fantastic what they're doing. The big question was, were they as good as they seemed to be? Or was it just a factor of the competition was that much below them? So you go up to number 21, a place that they've never won, and utterly obliterate Boise State. Now, I've heard a lot of people say that Boise was down to their third quarterback, right? Well, that's a factor. That's a factor. But those quarterbacks that were hurt don't play defense for Boise State. And 51 points on those guys. They ripped them on the ground. They ripped them through the air. And Zach Wilson made it look completely effortless against one of the better defenses in the country. I thought that was a statement that everybody was waiting for them to make, that they finally had the opportunity to make.
We thought this was one of the biggest games in BYU history, and obviously as BYU gets further down the road here, perhaps it can elevate or lower. But where do you think this win ranks in BYU history, Trevor?
Well, it's big if they win out and it gets them to a New Year's Six Bowl, because that will be the game that likely made the playoff committee. It's the playoff committee who decides the 12 teams that are in the New Year's Six Bowls. This will have been the game that will have told them that, yes, BYU does deserve to play on that stage. Now, we won't know that yet because there are still 2 games to play, maybe more. But if they do win out, this game, I think, would validate what you guys have been saying, that it is one of the biggest games in the history of BYU, not because it's the highest-ranked team they've played, not because it's they beat number 1 Miami, right? They've gone out on the road and beaten teams in the top 10, neutral sites in the top 10. This was number 21. But what it would do, if it does, put them in the New Year's Six, that would make this maybe, if not the greatest game or most important game, one of the most important catalyst games in BYU history.
Trevor, Friday night produced several highlight reel moments and several impressive aspects of what BYU football is capable of doing in the 2020 season. But in your opinion, which was the most impressive thing that you saw on Friday night?
About half the catches that Dax Milne made. He was lights out. Guys, we've talked for years about the receivers needing to step up and be tougher, be angrier. And several years ago and prior, they were soft. I mean, the ball would come down, and if they could catch it, they would. And if the defender was there and it was hard, oh, well, I'll try it again. No, it's your ball. It's the last bone in the yard, and you're a junkyard dog fighting for that bone against another dog, and that's it. You win that bone. It belongs to you. You are angry. It is proprietary. That is the way you treat it. It's the way every position needs to treat it, by the way. But the receivers, for so long, it was a marshmallow floating over a campfire, and they're happy to let another Boy Scout get it if they didn't get it. This group of receivers for several years has been playing with that level of anger, and Dax Milne in this game came up with contested catch after contested catch, where he didn't make the catch because he has good hands. He does. He didn't make the contested catch because he ran a good route. He did. The defender was right there to fight him for it. When the ball came down, it wasn't a matter of it being a catch. It was a matter of it being a battle. And he won those battles. And I'll tell you, that impressed me. I couldn't pick one because there were a number of them.
Dax Milne and Gunnar Romney combined for 9 catches for 232 yards. I mean, they have turned into a dynamic duo. And Zach Wilson throwing the ball, he goes 22 of 28 for 360 and 3 touchdowns passing, 1 rushing. Do you expect Zach at this point to be top 5 in the Heisman when all said and done?
I do. And right now, if I had to guess, there'll be 5 players in New York for the Heisman ceremony, all 5 of them quarterbacks, and Zach, one of those guys. I mean, you figure Trevor Lawrence of Clemson, Justin Fields of Ohio State, Mac Jones of Alabama, right? And then Kyle Trask of Florida with his performance against Georgia on Saturday. I think he basically cemented himself as in that category. And then I think a lot of people want to vote. They want to vote for Zach. I think they're a little reticent because of the schedule to this point. But I think the Boise State game will give those voters the excuse they need to vote for him. And remember what it takes to get to New York. What it takes to get to New York is you've got to be close to the next one above you. Where they put the cutoff is at the biggest jump after the third guy. So you got 1, 2, 3. And if 4 is pretty close to 3, they'll bring number 4. If 5 is pretty close to 4, they'll bring number 5. If there's a big jump off after that, drop off, then those are the 5 they'll bring. And right now, I don't see any way that Zach Wilson is not in New York. Now, there's still a lot of football to be played yet. Who knows what might happen? But based on the quality of his play, forget about the schedule. I think he is a worthy candidate to win the Heisman Trophy, at least be in that conversation and not just get to New York. Unfortunately, he plays the schedule he does.
December 12th is when the Heisman committee has said they're going to announce it. That's the second to last week of the season. I don't get why they haven't pushed back their date. And, oh, by the way, BYU has a game that day. I doubt anyone will actually go to New York, by the way. Probably a Zoom or something, right, via satellite.
Well, yeah.
But it's weird that they haven't pushed back everything like everyone else has. We're kind of 2 weeks later, right?
Yeah, and there are a lot of people out there that wish that they would delay the Heisman voting, the end of the voting, until after all the bowls are over and the national championship is won. Because it might be close between 2 guys, and then all of a sudden one of them goes out, lights out, carries his team to a national championship, but the voting's already closed. So there are a lot of people that wish that. In having the vote close and the ceremony when they're doing it before even the conference championship games. Because the conference championship games are the weekend of the 12th or 20th, most of them. Here's the problem with pushing it back. When do you push it back to? Because all of a sudden you got the 20th to the New Year's Six Bowls. And if you push it back too far, you get back after the national championship game, which is a lot of people wish that they would do, then all of a sudden you lose interest. Once the national championship game is over, everybody rolls over and they're looking forward to the start of baseball, right? Or looking forward to the Super Bowl. But I think what they're trying to do is be as relevant as they can from a viewership standpoint. And so that's why they keep it where it is. But I think it's unfortunate that COVID has kind of put them in an impossible situation too.
It's another Matich Monday on BYU Sports Nation with ESPN's Trevor Matich. According to ESPN's experts, BYU has a 23% chance to make the college football playoff. That is the 7th best percentage of any team in the country. Trevor, what kind of a chance do you give BYU to legitimately make the college football playoff following a 51-17 win against Boise State?
I think that's fair. They've got a couple of problems. The teams ahead of them right now, between where they are in 4, are Cincinnati, Texas A&M, Florida, and then Clemson is the AP number 4 right now. Now, keep in mind, this is AP. That's not the poll that will count. It's the votes of the committee. But this is what we have right now, right? It's possible BYU could jump Cincinnati, although Cincinnati does have a better schedule, a tougher schedule. Because when the football people on the committee look at it, I think BYU would have a better chance in the playoff than Cincinnati might. Cincinnati is built for power. I mean, they grind you on defense. They grind you with an amazing running game. What they're not good at is downfield passing. And when you face a playoff caliber defense and they can slow down or even stop your running game, what's your plan B? Cincinnati doesn't really have a plan B. At least they haven't shown it yet. Whereas BYU has got a good running game. But their plan B is the best deep passer in all of college football, Zach Wilson. And so I think they might have a better chance on that stage, and that might help them a little bit. Now you've got Texas A&M. They're a problem. They're not going to win the SEC unless Bama loses twice, which they won't, because they lost to Bama. But if they go 9-1 in a 10-game SEC schedule, even though their division's down this year, it's still a 10-game SEC schedule. And they're a one-loss non-champ. I think the committee will give them a lot of juice to be that number 4. Even over a conference champ, maybe a Pac-12 champ or a Big 12 champ. Then you've got Clemson. If Clemson continues to win, and so does Notre Dame, and they meet in the ACC championship game, and Clemson beats them, they avenge their defeat from Saturday, then Clemson wins the ACC with 1 loss they're in. Notre Dame is a 1-loss non-champ who has already beaten the then number 1 team in the nation. Pretty good chance they'll stay ahead of BYU. Yep. So there's all these different things that can happen that would conspire against BYU getting there, because the schedule doesn't give them the juice to enforce their will. They need to continue to win and then hope that they get a lot of help. Now, in 1984, we had that help. We continued to win, but then the highly ranked teams above us kept losing to teams that were below 500, some of them. And they knocked themselves out, and that opened the door for us. So that's what this team would need as well in order to get up into that position at number 4.
Yeah, Notre Dame winning was bad for BYU's college football playoff chances. I'll put them on. I still think it's blue goggled. But the good news is
always put those on.
BYU. I know they're so silly. BYU's number 8. How much higher can BYU go realistically? We're talking about the schedules, and a one-loss Power 5 team is probably going to be considered in many instances a better team than BYU. So how high can BYU get in this conversation, do you think?
I think 6 is realistic without a ton of help. They need Cincinnati to lose because Cincinnati, undefeated conference champ, I don't see any way BYU can get above them from that standpoint, unless, once again, the committee looks at the downfield passing game. Then Texas A&M, they still have a bunch of SEC games to go, but look at what's happened in their division overall. Some of these games they've already played, but you've got Alabama beat A&M. Auburn is up and down. You never know what Auburn team you're going to get. Arkansas is better, but they're still not as good as they were. Both Mississippi schools have new coaches for a reason, and LSU has fallen completely off the map. Now, A&M has already covered some of those teams, but they've got several games to go. So they have a very good chance of winning out. And if they do, they'll stay above BYU. Florida, they're either going to beat Alabama, which would make them SEC champ, but Bama would still stay ahead of BYU, I think, with that loss. And then if Bama beats Florida in the SEC championship game, assuming both went out to that point, it'll be a second loss for Florida. But I don't know that Florida would drop below BYU either. So I think 6 is a good possibility if they get a little bit of help. 7 is the more likely.
Trevor, a huge conversation point for a lot of BYU fans right now is, okay, BYU's 8-0, but they only have 2 games over the next essentially month and a half. And there maybe is some desperation to stay in the conversation. Where do you stand on the BYU needs to schedule another game so that they remain relevant in the eyes of the important people in the college football playoff?
I think they'd love to schedule another game regardless of where they stay relevant or not. They want to play. And I think it would help them for the relevance question. It would also help them for the continuity question, because it's kind of hard to keep up your level of proficiency when you're not playing football games, if you're just practicing. Keep this in mind about the Holiday Bowl. Back in the day, the Holiday Bowl earned the reputation of being the most exciting bowl in college football because there were always late game, desperate comebacks, and it was awesome. Well, the reason was that BYU went to the Holiday Bowl every year. And in the time from the end of the regular season to the start of the Holiday Bowl, that high-powered BYU offense would lose a bit of its execution, its chemistry, and we would end up being behind early in that game and then mount a furious comeback. And sometimes BYU would succeed and sometimes they wouldn't, but it was always amazingly exciting. And so the same kind of thing is a risk for this BYU team. It's a slightly different kind of offense, but you've got the same issue of not playing games, meaning that your proficiency in playing those games from a side of timing and speed and chemistry, it takes a hit. How quickly that hit is overcome when their next games are played, it depends on a whole lot of factors, but it is something that would make scheduling another game a good thing.
Trevor, it's great to catch up with you on another Monday. Incredible run that BYU football is on right now, and I hope you're right. I hope they get to number 6, if not higher. That'd be a spectacle to see moving forward.
That would be awesome.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, guys.
Trevor Matich on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, you know why, we show how.